Hey, it's Bill Gross, the LAProbate expert today, and I interview regularly vendors to help my clients, whether it be real estate agents, investors, wholesalers, serve their clients or petitioners on how to get through the probate process more efficiently, ending up with a better result. And one of the key vendors to have a relationship with is a company that can help you advance money when you need to at the right time to pay for legal expenses or other expenses related to the probate, when maybe you have assets, but not enough cash to pay the bills. And one I've come across, I'm really excited to share with you guys today, is Probate Cash, Marc Harris and Karen Iturrino. Please forgive my slurring of the name. Welcome, Marc and Karen. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Thanks, Bill, for having us.
Yeah, so Marc, I know your background is you're an attorney. How did you end up at Probate Cash with a law degree? What brought you down this road or this path?
Sure. I've had the lion's share of my experience has been in factoring. So I've started out actually purchasing lottery prize payment streams 25 years ago, when winners of state lotteries would be paid in an annuity. And that evolved into purchasing structured settlement payment rights. And not just purchasing them, but also getting laws passed to allow the purchase of those assets so that we would get paid directly from either a lottery commission or insurance company. And then it factored other receivables, professional sports athletes, and just general receivables. So the need for inheritance advancing came about with folks not really understanding the process of probate law. Right. So I got into this as a natural progression, and people needing access to the money, as you pointed out in the opening, for various reasons, often for purposes of the estate home, but other areas as well, and learned that it can be a benefit to all sorts of parties helping with the probate process, from lawyers, as you noted, realtors, and of course the heirs. So that's we found it to be a good business for everyone involved.
So factoring is one of those businesses where people say, well, this doesn't make sense. It's worth this much. You're only lending me this much. And whether it be in receivables, like you say, a business has money coming in, or inheritances, or contracts. I used it when I was right out of college. We had a contract with a Fortune 500 company. There was a pay us $200,000 for some electronics that I could buy for $100,000. We went to a factoring company who lent us the $100,000. We bought the equipment, delivered it. It made the $200,000, and they made a nice fee, but we made a fortune as well in the purchase. So I've been using factoring companies in an appropriate way for years. And then Karen, how do you get into factoring? You or Probate Cash and advanced inheritance? How did you get involved in the business?
So I was working for one of our factoring companies at the time, and the CRR, Chief Revenue Officer, brought me this idea and said, I want to do this. And I said, oh. And I sat down and I figured it out, and it was kind of the foundation for what you see as Probate Cash now.
Wow. Okay. So Probate Cash, and then where do you guys operate? What states? Are you nationwide, or particular states that you do operate in, or certain states that you don't operate in?
We operate throughout the country in all 50 states. Right now, California, interestingly, is your home state, is the only state with a statute right on point. So there are rules specific to California that we have to follow in providing an advance to a beneficiary, and we emulate most of that statute when it comes to other states. So all of our transactions are seen before the probate judge, regardless of which state we're doing business in.
So for me, an advance like this, Probate Cash, is for a scenario where there's an asset, maybe most commonly a house, but there's no cash, and there's a need to do something with cash right away. Maybe legal fees, maybe the mortgage to stop foreclosure. Are those the most common cases that you see where you're advancing money or for legal fees and then stopping house foreclosure? Are there other cases that you see commonly?
Yeah, sure. Karen, you've seen some specific cases. Maybe I have too, but why don't you describe a couple of cases you've seen, Karen?
Sure. So some of the major ones we see are not only for the mortgages, but for home repairs. So we've had ones where there's been, a hole in the roof, a bowed wall, there's windows that are broken because there have been squatters, and they want to use the funds to repair the house in order to sell it for fair market value. So doing a small transaction with us, even including our fee, is still less than the amount of money they would increase in the value of the home. Other times is you have an heir that's residing in the home and they need funds to move out. And sometimes it's just a matter of the heirs not understanding that probate is not an overnight process. And so they spend what they think they're going to get as their inheritance prior to even receiving it. So it can be a little, and unfortunately, because it's a misunderstood process, they put themselves in a jam. So it's a wide variety of reasons, but the majority of them are to fix, repair, or keep the home out of foreclosure.
Does your business, and I'll ask you questions, and if they're trade secrets, just tell me or throw the penalty flag out. But I'm curious, I find your business fascinating. Does your business come mostly from the actual heir petitioner? Does it come mostly from attorneys? Does it come mostly from realtors, or is it split up amongst all three?
Trade secret? No. Sorry, it is from all. The answer is yes. We get referrals from lawyers, of course. Lawyers don't want to front the cost often. Lawyers also recognize you're representing the estate, and you're in Los Angeles County, so an estate with I'm in Florida, similar situations, but a state with little liquidity, but a house bought in the 1970s for $100,000 is now $1 million. But that house hasn't been kept up for the last 50 years and needs $50,000 to $100,000 in repair, which can increase the resale by a few $100,000. And so that's a common referral from both from that attorney. Realtors similarly, and then heirs who recognize that they're oftentimes just searching for folks like us, didn't even know we exist. So we get them referrals with heirs, realtors, lawyers. Karen, who else can you think of?
Those are the main sources. Sometimes it's just other heirs. So someone who's heard of our company but never used it, and then they know somebody who is in a jam.
Trust officers.
Trust officers.
Yes. So obviously, you have some guidelines. You have some general rules you would share. Is there a particular loan to value that generally you don't go past, or certain circumstances that you avoid that you would not underwrite? Can you share with me kind of some cases that would kind of, or would you like them all to call you and you try to work it out once you're working with them?
Well, I think it's helpful for everyone to be educated to just some guidelines. So we don't specifically have an LTV requirement. We provide advances at all stages of the probate case. So the answer to that question is it depends. And yeah, so folks should contact us for the specifics. The specifics, for instance, sometimes we have people who are giving us they need an advance at the beginning of the process before even the claims period has begun. In that situation, we are hesitant to give a larger advance until at least the letters are issued, until we get more clarity of what's going on. So it all depends upon the timing of the probate process as well. As it gets towards a petition for final distribution, we'll give a significant amount of the share of the heir's inheritance. I think there are a lot of variables that go in. People should just call us for that. So I apologize for that rambling answer.
So you do in some cases advances prior to the issuing of letters, but I imagine you probably want to see a game plan that's in place or getting put into action as a result, or do you pay directly to the attorney to make sure that happens? How do you handle those pre?
Karen can actually has a network of lawyers too that she's worked with. So Karen, describe a commonality. I know you've already said that we receive referrals from lawyers, and we do. We've met with many lawyers, and we sponsor some real estate sections of the state bars. But what are some common examples, Karen?
So in some states, the attorneys are paid at the end by statute, by state statute, but in states where they are not, we do have them call us and say, I have a client or a want to be client. They need to open probate in order to sell some property. And they'll give me a basic rundown because they generally vet the case before they even agree to take it. People don't always have $3, $5, $6, $10,000 in their bank account in order to open up an estate. In those cases, we'll review with the attorney, we'll go over the fees with the potential client. And if they agree, we will cut the check directly to the attorney. And then once the case has begun, we see that they've signed whatever documents they need to sign for the attorney for the case to actually be opened, and we have a case number. Then we'll pay out any additional funds that didn't go to the attorney, and we'll file our assignment.
And even though with states that do have statutory fees, some lawyers just don't want to wait, and they want to get at least their cost up front.
Right.
To that end, we've even given advances to lawyers themselves.
Right. What's again, if it's proprietary, but what's the average or most common time period from when somebody calls you to the time they can actually receive funds? I know your motto is days, not years, but days could be 365 days or days could be 3 days. And I've done both with advanced inheritances myself. So what's the most common or average? Do you track that? Of course, it's also, I guess, depend on the customer and their needs and their desire too. They may start with you day one and decide they don't need the money and come back to you a year later. But what's the most common if somebody's looking for money in a fairly short order? What's a common or a reliable standard they can expect?
Yeah, you pointed out a weakness in our motto: 365 days, not years. But it really today it should be more closely to hours, not years. So we've done some advances same day.
Wow.
Each situation is unique, of course, but there are enough commonalities that we know what we're doing that we can make quick decisions. So some of these are same day, within one business day. We know that people are calling us and they need money quickly. If lawyers are referring us the case, they've had an opportunity to already have a conversation with the person who's probably going to be the administrator, who's going to get the letters applied and can confirm that there's real estate there that's going to flow through the estate. That advance should be paid same day or within a business day.
Got it. Wow, that's good to know. So Karen, does that really happen? Mark says that, but he's the attorney and he's like back in the Golden Tower there. Tell me what really happens, Karen.
It actually happened today. As long as we receive all the documents that we need so we can, get the information that we need to do our own due diligence. We had one come in this morning and it is funding this afternoon. So
wow.
Today is a perfect example.
Wow, look at you with a big smile too. One thing I learned, I've been in probate, full time. I've done probate business over my entire career, but I've been in this space full time. I'm so focused last 3 years. One thing I learned is people who are not probate kind of complain about the work and the process. People who are in probate business brag about the problems and situations they've overcome. So give me a story you've had of somebody that was difficult that you were able to get done and you're proud of, Karen. And I know it's Karen, not Mark, who does the hard work here. So
I took the words right out of my mouth, Bill. Go ahead, Karen.
So it's hard because we have so many. Probably one of my favorites was, it's so hard to pick. So there was
I put you on the spot and you're a fan.
I did. I'm not going to
give you advance notice on this.
This is proof, folks. That
the lawyer has me practicing.
We weren't provided with these questions in advance.
Yes, no, you're not. I don't do that.
No, there was a woman who lost her father and he had a property in a different state than which she resided. And she needed to open probate in that estate. She obviously didn't live there, didn't understand the laws, didn't grow up there. He had moved somewhere else when they retired, not somewhere where she was familiar with. And it was one where she really needed the retainer fee up front. The house had taxes that were being added on, and she just was at a complete loss. And she was able to call us and just be like, I need money. It wasn't even an attorney referral, I think, at that point. She called us. I was able to talk to her. I was able to explain the probate process to her. I was actually able to refer her to an attorney, a list of attorneys that we work with in the state where the probate was going to happen. And we were able to get it opened and done for her. My second favorite would be a woman who her children, one adult, a couple minors. Their father had been killed, and there was money that had come in from a settlement for wrongful death. She couldn't cash the check. She lived in a different state. One of the children was an adult, and we were able to help her get, again, the money to open the estate, refer her to an attorney, and get it all worked out. Those are the ones I like the best, where we can really help people who call us not just upset about money, but they just feel lost, because we do so much more than just here's money. We also can help them through the process. Understand?
Yeah, I think that's, I don't want to pigeonhole your business, because you've got to do a lot of business. I understand. For me, oftentimes it's somebody who has no other financial alternative, and that asset is going to dramatically change the quality of their life. I had one case where the brother, sister, parents passed, house worth $1 million, almost paid free and clear, maybe it was free and clear, and brother and sister fighting, and brother into drugs, and filed the paperwork without notifying the sister, trying to get 100% control of it. And she was too affected by the drugs to show up to the initial hearings. And the guy got appointed, and she really needed an attorney to just ride on the side and make sure she got her share. And she had the money to pay anybody. And she was not an attractive kind of client, no, the kind of person people would want in their office. And I had met her at court, and she actually got turned down for an advance because she couldn't get the paperwork filled out in time, because they just mailed it to her and never followed up. And I ended up getting the paperwork to her. I sent a mobile notary, got her to sign the paperwork, got it in, got her the advance, got the attorney paid. He roadside car, and she got some life-changing money. Now, I don't know where she is today. She sent me a beautiful card thanking me. And I think that's why I do the business. I can't say I've prolonged her life for 120 years, but I can say that I did the best I could. And the advance company, like I said, they were turned around by one because they didn't really, in my mind, follow. They didn't call me and tell me, well, she never signed the paperwork, so we've closed the case. And I just took it to another company. And this is what prompts me to call you guys when I saw you being interviewed by a really good friend, by Chad Corbett, who I trust a lot, got me in this business to some degree, as deep as I am. That it's one thing to say what you're going to do. It's nice to interview you, but not everybody does the tough cases. And I think you only do them when you believe in what you're doing, and you believe that your job is to help people, not just to cash a check. I like making money, but my job is to help people. And I can see that, Karen, especially, Mark, not as much, but Karen, I can see your smile when you talk about helping the customer. That's what drives you to do your job on a daily basis.
It is.
So
That's a sincere smile, Bill. That's I think one of the things about our business is the lion's share of our customers are people who have only been told no most of their lives, and when it comes to certainly questions about money, and if they could go walk into a bank or had other means to get traditional lending, they would. And so they're coming to us, and we're saying yes as often as we can.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that they've really been able to hear the word yes when it comes to helping them with financial needs. And those are imminent financial needs most of the time.
Many cases, life-changing, getting the house or not getting the house, keeping out foreclosure could be life-changing. Well, good. So last question I guess I have is, what do you see the people who work with you effectively and service their customers by getting cash and helping the customers, what do they do differently than the ones that are not effective in working with you?
I'm sorry, I missed that, Bill. Can you say that again, please?
What are the things there? I'm sure you have some customers that you go, wow, that guy or gal are great. They're on the game. They really help get good results. They get their customers, they advance quickly, they move things forward. There's other ones that struggle. What do you see as the difference, the main difference between those that are effective and those that are not effective? Do you see any patterns or any particular consistent activities that work for those who are working with you effectively?
Yeah, I always go to Karen, but I'll say right off the bat that I think people who have identified a true financial need or life-changing need, as you point out, those folks are usually right on the, they're more on the ball. They understand that while our advances are more risky than traditional lending, and in fact, our advances are non-recourse. If the inheritance isn't paid to our customer, we have no remedy of law. We're not repaid. but it's still a business, and we do have a complex underwriting department and a lot of good professionals. That's why we are able to take a sophisticated matter and get it done in hours sometimes, or a couple of days, to get advances in people's hands, make decisions. So the more information an heir has, the better. We have some people who contact us just saying, I want some money. And they're not even certain whether they're a beneficiary of an estate. That we have other, but where I think we add a lot of value sometimes when there's a probate case filed and there is a challenge to an instrument, to a will. We don't back off from there. We look at that case, and we will still give advances even if a beneficiary's interest is being challenged by a third party, or in the alternative, if our customer is challenging the will. That's also still a situation where we'll advance money.
Wow, that's interesting, because that some of the companies won't do that. It's interesting to know.
Can I tack something onto that?
Please.
So in addition to what Mark said, I think the other really important thing for customers that we can help the fastest is just honesty. We're not judging you. You call us with your situation, tell us the truth about what's going on in the estate. You can or can't get documents. If you can't, we will do our best to get them. But being upfront about what you're going through and what you do and do not know about your estate will help us tremendously in being able to figure out the best way to help you.
There you go. As an agent, I try to help that customer by getting the information as much together as possible, documents and value of property and things like that. So that's how I try to work. So look, I appreciate you guys' time today. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, probatecash.com, pretty simple name to remember, probatecash.com. If they go onto the website, I see you have a chat button. You also have a phone number to call, 866-886-8857. So it's 866-886-8857. Great phone number, by the way. And that's for more information on probate cash, and you'll get hopefully Karen, and she'll get the paperwork done, and hope you guys get some cash if you need it. So thank you so much. Any last things you want to say before you go?
Karen?
Any last suggestions? Or
Thanks for having us. And, we're always open to take questions. There's a link on there to put a meeting on my calendar. If you don't want to call, you just want to set up a meeting, feel free to reach out anytime. We're here to help.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think for a lot of your audience, go to newprobatetool.com. You also saw in the background of Karen's background, and that's what we like to think that we're offering other tools for folks, whether they be realtors, lawyers. And if you go onto our website, you'll also see webinars that Karen and I have done, where the audience has been made up of probate lawyers and other folks.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, I appreciate that so much, Mark and Karen. Thank you so much for your help today. Again, probatecash.com. Reach out to me. I'll be glad to put you guys together. I appreciate your time as always. Bill Gross, the LA probate expert. And as always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.